The Cars series has been one of Pixar's most unexpected, enduring franchises since 2007, spawning 2 sequels, a spin-off about planes, and now the animated series Cars on the Road. In this series of shorts, we see the dynamic duo of Lightning McQueen and Tow Mater team up once again. A classic tale of 2 best friends traveling across the country to a family wedding and the hijinks that ensue along the way. Let's take a look at some of the things you may have missed in Cars on the Road. You know the drill by now. I'm Joey C. Let's go! The first stop Lightning and Mater make on their journey is the dinosaur exhibit Cartaceous Gardens. The word Cartaceous is a clear riff on the Cretaceous dinosaur era, but the name of the tourist attraction may be a reference to the real-life dinosaur exhibit Cartaceous Gardens, which is Canada's only museum dedicated to the study of ancient life. Inside the Cartaceous Gardens exhibit, Mater struggles to pay attention to the tour guide's description of the fossilized remains of the dino cars, wishing he could watch the stop-motion dinosaur battles on the museum's TV. As someone who routinely fell asleep in history class, I can totally relate. As Mater nods off, he dreams of him and Lightning as cavemen. Or cave cars, I guess, with stone wheels, like their cars from the Flintstones. Our pals are then attacked by a Tyrannosaurus Rex and then they run for their lives. Or drive for their lives, I guess. The animation style switch for the dream sequence is really charming. The washed out colors, lowered frame rate, and clay texturing gives the scene a 1960s Lost World feel. The second episode, Lights Out, follows our friends making a late-night pit stop at Destiny Motel, where they're greeted by the not-at-all crappy host, Randy. As our duo attempts to settle off to bed, Lightning gets lost and is harassed by several spectral station wagons. That's a tongue twister. As Lightning scrambles through the halls, he happens upon 2 twins that say, "Come race with us, Lightning," before Lightning McQueen flees the scene. This is one of the many nods to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, particularly the scene where Danny sees the ghosts of 2 twin girls beckoning him to play with them forever and ever, and it's very creepy. As Lightning McQueen attempts to evade the automotive apparitions, he stumbles his way in front of an eerie elevator. As he mashes the down button, the floor indicator at the top rapidly cycles through the balcony, parking deck, and all manner of valuable engine fluids, settling on antifreeze. Once that happens, a tidal wave of antifreeze spills out of the elevator. This homage is another classic scene from The Shining. It probably won't scare as many kids as the original since it's not actual blood, but it'll undoubtedly amuse any parents watching along. The third adventure, Salt Fever, finds our duo crossing a seemingly endless series of salt flats. Following the endless horizon, they happen upon an oasis of mechanics that have dedicated their lives to converting other cars into land speed racers. They've cast aside all societal norms to become the fastest vehicles around. The scenery of the salt flats and the descriptions of the modifications as land speed racers brings to mind the desert of Tatooine from Star Wars, and the land speeders that its denizens use to travel between the towns. If we ever see this pit stop again, hopefully the mechanics won't be burned alive like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. Salt Fever sees Mater try and become as fast as Lightning with the help of the land speed racer mechanics. He succeeds and goes so fast that his soul leaves his body. Yes, you heard me, his soul. Cars have souls. During his out-of-body experience, he's confronted by the angel of death called the Speed Demon, part of the local lore. For being a demon, the Speed Demon is actually quite amicable and willing to play along with Mater's battle of wits for his right to survive. This scene also marks the only time we see a car use its door, as Mater's soul re-enters his body through his driver's side door. This whole sequence brings up even more questions about the Cars universe following the previous episode, though. What circumstances need to take place to allow a car to come back as a ghost? The Speed Demon mentions that Mater's friends could perform a seance to see him again, so occult practices do exist. If we get another season of Cars on the Road, they should homage The Exorcist next. The 4th episode of the show finds Lightning and Mater at a campsite in Wayne County. Mater makes friends with a local cryptid hunting gang in search of Bigfoot. That's right, Bigfoot. Does anybody in this universe even know what feet are? They don't refer to their tires as feet. The only humanoid appendage ever mentioned in this series are the eyes, which is even then kinda weird to say since nobody has multiple eyes. It's just one big eye with two pupils that compromises the whole of their windshield. Shouldn't it be called big wheel or big tread? What do cars even think a foot is? I really don't even think they're talking about the unit of distance, since every car we've ever seen is at least a few feet long, wide, and tall. I'm pretty sure most tire diameters exceed a foot, too. In making friends with the Wayne County Cryptid Busters, Mater ropes Lightning into their hunt for Bigfoot. Despite not bringing any night vision gear with them on the road, the WCCB are happy to provide him with their own rooftop lighting rig. And it's even custom painted to be red. After being separated from the group, Lightning gets kidnapped by the monster in the woods. At first, we think it's Bigfoot, but it turns out to be a moss-covered monster truck named Ivy. Or rather, she used to be a monster truck. She got tired of that life. The life of jumping onto a mob of cars that are ready and willing to be smashed in public. None of them are afraid, they're just ready to take it. Considering that Cars 3 established that destruction derbies do exist and are a popular sport, this definitely tracks as something they do, but it still casts an eerie shadow over this society. Ivy manages to trap both Lightning and Mater in her shack, both strung up by a rope. As someone who spent their life in seclusion, it makes sense that she'd be so crafty. But how does she do that? We don't see her tying them up, and there weren't any traps set. I guess cars are really handy with their teeth. We did see Lightning stoke a campfire earlier in the episode. Honestly, Cars 2 fixed this problem with all the advanced tech Finn McMissile had in him that allowed him to interact with all of his equipment. The Cars franchise has dabbled in multiple ways that cars can die. In Cars 2, you could be crushed to death, explode due to internal combustion, and potentially drown. Man, Cars 2 was weirdly violent for a kids movie. But it's here that we imply that if you empty a car out of all of its fluids, it would die like somebody would die if they bled out in real life. Episode 5, Showtime, sees Lightning, Mater, and the newly befriended Ivy visit a circus on the side of the road. While Ivy and Mater are very impressed by the colorful, high-flying antics of the clown cars, we discover that McQueen has a pathological fear of clowns. While this is a very familiar trope, it takes on a whole new meaning in this world. While clown makeup can bring any being into fear, what really greases the axle in this case is that so many clown cars can fit inside another clown car. Since this is a cartoon, it shouldn't be weird that they're repeating a classic gag. But it's exceptionally strange in this case considering that multiple cars are popping out of the trunk of another car that's of similar size. Lightning McQueen is the only one that can recognize the laws of matter being violated in front of him. In the 7th episode, B-Movie, McQueen and Mater stumble onto a movie set by a famous director, Bella Cadaver. If you take a look at the signage on display, you'll see that the movie is under the production company Breaklight Pictures. This is reminiscent of Fox's Searchlight Pictures, which was bought out by Disney during their merger a few years back. As the duo is entangled in Bella Cadaver's latest cinematic venture, Lightning and Mater are thrust into the ever-changing series of roles as Cadaver's visions of the film changes. Well, Mater does anyhow. McQueen is stuck as the scatterbrained police officer while Mater transitions from a graveyard keeper to a scientist to even the President of the United States of America. Upon arriving at the pretend presidential part, Mater's given a fresh blue coat of paint and a presidential seal stuck on the side. While bearing similarities to the real-life presidential seal, the text surrounding the coat of arms reads, "See Furry Bus Unum." The Latin on display for the actual American coat of arms means out of many, one. The original Latin signifies how a nation of America is made up of many citizens, although in the Cars universe I'd have to assume it implies the existence of the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro. The presidential coat of arms consists of a bald eagle clutching an olive branch in one hand and a bundle of arrows in the other. Each represents peace and war respectively. In Cars, Mater's presidential seal depicts either a jar or a hammer with wings. And instead of an eagle's talons, two wrenches grip springs and more wrenches. I'm not sure what a jar would represent, so it's safe to assume that it could be a hammer, as Mater's a handyman. Which makes sense, as he'd be the one gripping springs and more wrenches. In his great nation, Mater would fix every problem. Hashtag Mater for President 2024. In between days of shooting, Mater and McQueen spend their nights in the Rollin Inn. Get it? Which is equipped with color TV, free Wi-Fi, and a heated pool. What exactly is the pool filled with? We've seen in Cars 2 that cars can be outfitted to survive and be mobile in water thanks to the daring heroics of the secret agent Finn McMissile. But otherwise, it's implied that being submerged in water can damage a car. Just like in real life. Is it heated oil? Antifreeze? I feel like both are equally unhealthy options. There are no beds in this world. The Destiny Motel and the Rollin Inn have rooms for guests to stay in, but there aren't any beds. This is really funny, but if you pay to stay at a hotel in the Cars universe, you're essentially just paying to fall asleep standing up in a garage with a carpet. This episode's title isn't homage to the DreamWorks B-movie, that some think it may be. In cinephile terms, a B-movie is a low-budget attraction often meant to be included as part of a double feature. Campy sci-fi flicks are one of the most popular genres of B-movies, so it makes sense that Cadaver's latest film starts out as a campy alien invasion with heavy focus on practical effects. In fact, if you pay close attention to the massive brains scattered around that the actors are wearing, it's a clear homage to the 1996 classic Mars Attack. Honestly, I'd watch a car remake of that flick. Episode 8, Road Rumbler, finds McQueen and Mater stranded in a desert wasteland with tempers running high. As their fight reaches its peak, they're set upon a gang of cars that have clearly been out of the sun for too long and are captured. They have wakened to a gang of cars that have shunned all societal norms and are thrust into the ThunderCone, a cone-shaped wire mesh cage where cars fight to the death in high-speed gladiator combat, baby. The ThunderCone is reminiscent of the arena in Mad Max 3 Beyond Thunderdome, which was used by the citizens of the trader post Badertown to settle all conflicts in the same way. Once Lightning and Mater settle their differences and get beyond the ThunderCone, they see that their captors have gone to war with a rival gang of solar-powered cars. We see homages to the later Mad Max films, particularly 2015's Fury Road. As the battle escalates, we see a contraption hosting 2 forklifts suspended in midair banging on over a dozen drums. This is the car's equivalent to the Doof Wagon from Fury Road. Honestly, I'm surprised that nobody in this episode said, "Witness me." Our season finale finds our best friends arriving at the wedding of Mater's sister, Mato. Toe Mater and Toe Mato. Anyways, the groom, Mateo, happens to be the cousin of Cruz from Cars 3, and she's been pretty busy during the racing off-season. She's opened up a training school, started a nonprofit, and has even been practicing French. Cruz's many talents don't end there, as she managed to put an end to Mater and Mato's sibling fights, revealing herself as having dabbled in family therapy. And although their family bond has been saved, taking that much time has frustrated the priest to the point where he openly bails on the ceremony. I hope everyone present review bombs him. Thankfully, Cruz races to the rescue, revealing she's also a licensed wedding practitioner. She announces Mato and Mateo as bride and groom, and the day is saved, baby. Happily married, Mato and Mateo drive off into the sunset, dialed up with their tin cans and just Hitched painted on the back of their windshields. This tradition dates back to 3100 BC, based on a French custom where friends of the newlywed couple would walk the nearby streets banging pots and pans to celebrate the happy couple's union. This tradition evolved over time to the practice we see now. It's oddly fitting, considering how rowdy Mater's family seems to be. Although while it's cute that the happy couple matches in this episode, it's really weird that Mato isn't a tow truck like her brother. I feel like that would make the just Hitched pun work way better. Cars get gassy. They have digestion issues just like we do. How do we know this? As Lightning and Mater approach his sister's home, Mater's engine starts to backfire as he gets more and more nervous. Back in Cars 2, it was believed for a good stretch of the film that Mater leaked oil after ingesting too much wasabi, but that turned out to be a ruse by the film's villain. But now we have definite proof that the car's engine performance is in some way part tied to their mental state, much as us humans can possess digestional issues as a result of some symptoms. We didn't see every step our friends made along their trip in great detail. McQueen mentioned a few stops that Mater picked out early on, like the world's largest lug nut, the world's biggest tire maze, and Carhenge. The first two are clear references to the world's largest ball of yarn and corn maze respectively, but Carhenge is easily the most interesting out of the three. clearly inspired by the real-life wonder Stonehenge. We see a series of stone arches arranged in a circle, but each block that makes up the archways is shaped like a car, identical cars. We can speculate that it bears a more culturally significant meaning in the Cars universe, given the presence of spirits in multiple episodes, the belief in cryptids, and the past existence of dinosaurs. It's entirely possible that Carhenge could be the burial site of an ancient automotive deity. Ladies and gentlemen, you made it to the end of the video. What did you think of Cars on the Road? Did we notice anything that you didn't? If so, let us know in the comments below. And as always, everybody, thanks for watching.